My favorite scary film of all time was Psycho, which I could not sit through. I was a little kid and my mother dragged me to this movie. And when I couldn't stand it after the shower scene, she said, well, go wait outside. And I'd stay outside. And I never saw the whole movie until I was an adult. That's how bad I am with horror movies. And then when I saw Halloween, I found it reminiscent in spirit of that kind of movie that was unrelentingly scary and suspenseful and atmospheric. Michael Myers is enduring because he's pure evil, and evil has been with us since the beginning of time. And without evil, you couldn't have good. But what's most scary and fascinating about Michael Myers is he's just evil. He doesn't have the good in him. I think people like to be scared because eventually it's going to be safe and they can go to the edge without really being there. I've always wanted to work with Jamie again since the movie we had done earlier, Forever Young. And I had also just worked with Kevin Williamson doing the pilot to Dawson's Creek, and was very impressed with his sensibilities as a writer and filmmaker. And I thought it could be a great collaboration between all the powers that be, Jamie Lee and Kevin and myself. One of the best things was putting Janet Leigh in the movie and getting the same car that she had been buried in Psycho, for her to drive away at the end of her last scene in Halloween.
A couple years ago, literally somebody mentioned the date, and I thought, wow, it's going to be 20 years that I've been in show business, because Halloween was my first movie. And it was going to be 20 years to the day that the movie was released, coming up 1998 Halloween. And I thought, I'm still in the movie business. I can still get a job. Wouldn't it be interesting if we went back and made a 20th anniversary movie, see what happened to Laurie Strode? That's how it began. I tried to come up with a few little remembrances. Quite frankly, my preparation was watching Halloween. The day before I shot the movie, I just watched the original movie. And, I'm going to try to twirl my hair in it somewhere and try to kind of come up with a few little connections to her past. But, it is 20 years later, and I can tell you now that I, Jamie, am not the same person I was when I was 19 years old. So, that's how I prepared. Laurie Strode remains, except for Helen Tasker in True Lies, the only part that really gave me a well-rounded part to play, somebody with a complete history that you really got a sense of. And, I have a couple other movies where people like the movies a lot, but I don't think people remember the name of the character. The character was just kind of this person. I don't think you know very much about this person. Laurie Strode was the first movie I got to do, and even as I got success in other areas, I always, look back very fondly on playing her, because you knew who she was. You just completely got it. And, I'm proud of that work, and I'm proud that, they wrote such a good character in a horror movie. I mean, it's ironic that it's a horror movie that almost afforded me the best part to play. In the first movie, everything was in relation to Laurie. They were there, that's why when Laurie left the house and walked across the street, a woman stood up at the theater I went to see and went, "Don't go in there!" Because you've established he's there, she's here, she's going there. It's that simple, and in this movie we have the same setup. We know where they are, we know where the kids are, and we know where Laurie is, and we know where Michael Myers is. In Halloween, the character of Marion, the opening nurse, who is also in our movie, Halloween H2O, is played by Nancy Stevens, who I also know. But Marion, her character name, was named after my mother's character in Psycho. That was John Carpenter's homage to my mom in Psycho. There are homages in this movie to the first movie all over the place. First of all, having Nancy Stevens reprise her role as Marion Whittington, the nurse in the first movie, in the opening scene with Dr. Loomis. She's also in Halloween 2, and she's in our movie. She is the opening scene. There's a homage to Steve Miner's earlier work in the movie. There's many homages to Scream in the movie. There are a couple reprisal lines that characters say. My mother reprises a line that was said by another character in Halloween. I reprised the same line that I said in the first movie. Because Scream has them all through it, and, you know, Kevin homaged Halloween left, right, and center, so. Yeah. I only just saw it about a month ago, and I didn't even realize that I was on the TV screen as the bad guys killed. That Laurie Strode, in her little pale blue shirt, actually kills the guy from Scream. Kills me.
I read the script, thought the script was cool. You know, talked to my managers, talked to my agents. We all discussed it, thought it was a real cool thing to do. I thought it was quality work. It wasn't just a cheesy horror movie with a lot of people getting their throats cut. It was really actually a cool script with some smart writing. And I wanted to be a part of it. You know, plus I've always been a fan of the Halloween movies, and I thought it was cool. You know, I was very young when the first Halloween came out. You know, that was 20 years ago, so I was a real little kid. But, you know, I remember it, and I did see it. And, you know, it stuck with me. I remember Jamie Lee screaming in the closet and the whole bit. And it's just a lot of fun, you know, coming back and just being a part of it. You know, especially now, because I think that this is a time when people are ready for some cool movies like this. And this is definitely your classic Hollywood horror movie. It's just written in a real cool way, and it's very contemporary. Yeah, I get scared in movies. But, you know, I'm a different kind of person. Me personally, I laugh. So, you know, I have I'm on a whole nother level. I guess I'm on the dark side or something, because I laugh at horror movies in a way at certain parts, you know.
Just visually looking at Mike Myers on the set here, and looking at that mask, there's something that's so minimalistic and so neutral about that face that it becomes sort of indelibly etched in your memory, number one, and I think number two, you're able to project any kind of frightening idea or image on top of it. It's like this blank screen. And so I think he'll sort of work in perpetuity as sort of the quintessential boogeyman. I had two reactions when I saw the first Halloween. I was scared to death, number one, and I wanted desperately to be able to play Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend someday. And here I am, frightened all over again, and my dreams coming true. But you know, there'll be a terrible price to pay for it. Be careful what you wish for. I thought it was refreshing to see a certain amount of humor in it, which is always attractive to me. You know, if something is one type of film, but it incorporates surprises and other influences, I always think that's a healthy sign.
I started to hear about Halloween this Halloween. Jamie told me that she had the idea about, you know, what happens to a victim after this horrible experience. You always, in a movie, you see the experience and, you know, but you never then follow through and you don't know what happened. How did this affect her life, this person's life? So she thought it was, since this was going to be the 20th anniversary of Halloween, when it first came out, that it would be a really interesting thing to examine what has happened, the evolvement of this victim, and then you know, obviously make it a true Halloween as it should be.
And then Kevin Williamson went in and put his hand to it and and turned it into something that I think is really frightening, but I think that it's also really compelling because of where Jamie Lee's character comes from. It's incredibly well written, and all of the things that she goes through really, really impressed me. So, I mean, it's really, well, what it is, when it really comes down to it, is a horror movie. There's really, you know, certain character-driven elements to it, which are great. I've had like a few like really frightening experiences in my life that just scared the pants off of me, and so I can easily draw upon them. I was 15 and I was living in this relatively large house all by myself, and I came home one night and I thought I heard noises and I was like running and screaming around the house. So I've got my horror experiences. I found myself like thinking about the scene and you know, trying to figure out how to play it from like beat to beat to beat. And really what it comes down to is at that point there's so much adrenaline running through your system. You're literally on such an adrenaline high that once you hear action, it just all falls in place and it all goes into motion. And really, you don't have to think about it. I mean, it's just like a sequence of events that happen in like the blink of an eye. It's just like a natural response. Guy stabs you, so you're gonna try and kick his I mean, it was really as easy as that. I think that what's different about shooting, you know, really going from any type of movie is the end result that you're hoping to achieve. And what we're trying to do here is literally just scare people to death. And, you know, I've never tried to do that before.
Michael Myers is the most horrifying for me because he is so abstract, and he seems to be killed off an awful lot and reappears because he is ultimate evil, and that is something that I can relate to. It seems like if it's that abstract, it's easier for me to be afraid of it. You know, somebody who just kind of appears and, you know, instead of an actual human who you think you could talk to. You could be like, hey man, I didn't do that. No, you know, I didn't kiss your girlfriend. You know, whatever. But with him, you know, that no remorse, he's got no feelings. It's, that's the most frightening, definitely. It doesn't matter really what the movie does in particular, it's what it does for you, in my opinion. I think movies can be a great, useful tool. And as far as horror movies go, I think that they are a useful tool, and they really, if they frighten the bejesus out of a little kid sometime, I more power to them. I love it. I'm glad I had that experience. I think it'll be a lot of fun because, you know, it brought Janet Leigh back from Psycho, if you don't know who she is, who is just a sweet lady, really cool, really nice. And she's really funny in the movie. And a lot of inside jokes that people will probably find, you know, telling, you know, and have a lot of fun with the movie. So it's also got a little bit of this entertainment value in it too, of course.
These types of movies, like Halloween and Scream and this type of thing, is more, it's scary and it's suspenseful, but at the same time it's fun and it's a little bit lighter. I think with these films, one of the keys is it's got to be light at many times. It's got to be a lot lighter and sort of joking around, and it pokes fun at itself, but at the same time, it can be very suspenseful and really, you know, keep you in your seat and very, very intense at the same time.
Michael Myers, he's a person, and he's just psychotic, you know, and that's I think scary to people just because it's so different. They can't really understand what the hell's going on in someone's mind. I think it's similar to, you know, the Norman character in Psycho, which, you know, he's psycho, and that's scary.
John Carpenter came to me with a script. I didn't have time to read the script, with a budget of $300,000. I was surprised. I mean, you worry when the budget is low and you worry when the budget is high. I said, $300,000 to do a film? He said, yes. What's the story about? He said, about a babysitter to be killed by the boogeyman. The word babysitter just really kind of clicked with me because I thought every kid in America knows what a babysitter is. I thought this will be really something the kids could relate to it. Are you sure you can make it for 300? He said, yes, I'm not taking any fees. I'm taking points, which was smart of him, of course. I said, let's go, because I was spending $300,000 a day shooting an epic, big epic. And okay, and the picture was done and came on budget and on time. So I added about $20,000 for some pocket money, at least, you know. After I saw the rough cut, I thought that was a winner, yeah. I think the uniqueness, there are two basic elements in Halloween. One is that it's not based on the gore and the blood and this is really very essential because really the actual killing takes a few seconds, it's gory, but the scare is that suspense, that's where. The second is that Michael Myers, he's a real human. We're not making him a superhuman. So could happen to anybody and it could happen with anybody. And I think these are two elements that makes Halloween different than the rest of the horror movies.
And wait, it's harmless and expected.
Oh, relax. He's only Steve.
Hey!
Thank you, and action, please.
Open up, it's me! Oh! Oh! Oh!
Guys, for 12 hours of good, clean fun.
Thank you. We didn't know if that was good.
And I run into you. What are you doing here?
Just a little off-campus lunch.
You're not allowed to be off campus for lunch. You know that. You too, Charlie. What's... Come on, I'll drive you home.
Take one, speed.
This is a cut from the rings.
41, one mark. Okay, set.
Thank you, and background action!
Desperate measures.
It's illegal.
It's harmless and expected. Studies have proven that all teenagers at some point in their adolescent lives have shoplifted.
What studies?
We could have avoided this whole thing if you would have simply scored some of your moms.
Look, my mom's a functioning alcoholic. She's aware of every drop in my house.
Hey, hey, what are you doing here?
It's a little off-campus lunch.
What are you doing?
A little lunch?
Little lunch. Off campus? I don't think so. You're not allowed to, John. You know it. And you too, Charlie.
Sorry, Miss Tate.
Stay. Not today. You know, I ask you for one thing, just one day. I ask you for one...
I'm giving you 17 years.
I need you to be responsible, John. I need you
Responsible?
to act
Don't talk-
responsible.
Don't talk responsible.
Just one thing I asked. You didn't exactly stay to see the ashes, John.
20 years. 20 years. Don't you think he would have come back by now? What's he waiting for, huh?
Hey, there's a couple things in there. I know, I think we're gonna have to cover it though. I just think we
At that
do
part.
over, so
Yeah, at that part.
towards the end there.
Yeah, at the...
Yeah.
Jamie.
You're gonna say, eyes up, Ronnie, then you're gonna turn forward.
Hey, Ronnie! Hey, Ronnie!
All right, ready for rehearsal?
We bet we are.
Okay, here we
The car won't pull out.
Where the hell were you?
Norma told me to walk the perimeter.
And where were you when these two got out? Ronnie, eyes up. And now? In the rehearsal? Excuse me? Well, and where were you when these two bozos got out? Ronnie, eyes up. Dear, this is. Thank you. Backing up! I got no brakes! Where the hell were you?
Norma told me to walk the perimeter.
And where were you when these two got out? Eyes up, Ronnie.
Just my, just my style.
There we go. Stand by.
You do things in a big way. Oh, good morning, Miss Tate. Thank you. Messages and mail are on your desk, along with the new quarter budget. Oh, and surprise, surprise, the drains in the girls' shower room are clogged again.
Can I talk
but
to you?
I called the plumber, and he assured me that he will be here as soon as he can. And I trust him.
Thank you.
Oh, good morning, Miss Tate. The messages and mail are on your desk, and along with the new quarter budget. Oh, yes, surprise, surprise, the drains in the girls' shower room are clogged again. But I called the plumber, and he assured me that he would be here as soon as he can.
Okay.
And I do trust him. I used to before.
Thanks a lot. Wait. Please,
Sorry, I just needed a fix.
Oh, stop, please stop.
That's what it is.
where are we going?
It's Chris' shadow?
Yeah, it's Chris's shadow.
Aha.
So how about the other side of the tree, Chris? If you can be, when they first.
Wait, come on. Hey, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna go to the dorms. We're gonna call the cops. Okay, come on.
Action! Action! Whoa, man.
Great check. Yes, I'm listening.
Check right in. That's good. Can you open up? You can't go any wider.
I did. I went to a 21. I'll
Okay.
go wider if you want.
Just hold that up a little bit, that pumpkin. Maybe not that much, but okay, let's shoot one.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, take a good notice.
Scarier and scarier.
And other things.
Let's do it. You ready, Adam?
I am ready. I am ready.
There's a plug over here against the wall. She goes back to the thing, and then she kind of gets really mad when he goes over and grabs it. And she is just so funny. And that's that voice where you just said, I am not responsible for you. Oh man, she was wicked.
All right, let's run the lines. Ready?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, quiet, guys!
And action.
Oh, we're doing the leader.
We're doing
The whole thing, babe.
Okay.
See what I mean about them not knowing their
Well, see,
lines?
that's a different thing. I thought.
Oh, I see.
You don't understand, man. I got 2 hours of sleep. Okay. I can't believe we did that. Did that?
We're doing this. I can't believe we're doing
Yeah,
this.
but did that is we're doing
No, doing this. You're in the middle of
doing
it. You're doing it. You're in the middle of it.
We're not in the liquor store.
We just read the goddamn line.
Fine.
Jesus.
I can't believe
they
we're
come and
doing
they change the
this.
lines without even trying them.
Desperate measures.
From the top. And action.
I can't believe we're doing this.
Desperate measures.
It's illegal.
And harmless. And wait, it's harmless. And expected.
Oh, relax. He's only Steve.
It's harmless and expected. Studies have proven that all teenagers at some point in their adolescent lives will shop.
What studies?
Wait, is that the line? What?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
What studies?
Do you have another job that you're doing or something that?
I'm getting nervous.
Oh, relax.
You should be
Well,
nervous.
they've got an EPK crew filming the rehearsal.
Oh, do we?
This
Oh,
is the
great.
this is what we
this
have
is
to put up with.
Hello. We don't know our lines.
Well, we could have avoided this whole thing if you would have simply scored some of your mom.
My mom is a functioning alcoholic. She's aware of every fucking ground.
And I run into you. What are you doing here?
Just a little off-campus lunch.
You're not allowed to be off campus for lunch. You know that. You too, Charlie. What's... Come on, I'll drive you home. You know what, Charlie? Just wait in the car for a second. What the fuck are you doing? Well, then don't put me in the fucking position, John. Jesus Christ, you know what day it is. The one day you pull this shit, you're not allowed to just fucking walk around, John. Not today. Not today. You know what? I ask you for one thing, just one day. I ask you for one.
I'm giving you 17 years.
I need you to be responsible, John. I
Responsible,
need you to act
don't talk-
responsible.
Don't talk responsible.
Just one thing. I ask you to do one thing. Just one thing in your life.
Mom, I'm not responsible for you.
Parker! All right! What are you doing? Who's on top and who's on bottom now?
Okay. I'm sorry, I got lost.
You're not responsible for
Okay,
you.
enough with it, yeah. Enough with it. I can't take it. He's dead. Michael Myers is dead.
What do you want me to say, John?
It's over. We can try to get on with some attempt at a happy existence because all that shit that's going on in your brain is leading you to developing cancer.
Tell me something.
You told me it was.
Exactly. Stay around to see what's happening.
20 years, Mom. 20 years. I just think he would have come back by now. What's he waiting for, huh?
Wait a minute, you didn't finish.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's at the end.
Oh, that's where you leave.
Yeah,
Are you
don't-
walking away?
No,
No, I'm just like, I
He's
can't
not
take
gonna walk
this.
away.
I can't live like this.
What is that supposed to mean, John?
I'm staying handcuffed to your dead brother. Fine. I'm not trying to
Then you go to the car.
Prick?
Yeah, he is.
Jesus Christ. See how to talk to me?
I'm a creep.
Raised by wolves, you know what I'm saying? Raised by wolves.
Don't forget you gotta go.
I'm working it, I'm working it. What are you doing here?
Into an
Little
overview.
off-campus lunch.
So you're not allowed to be off campus at lunch, John. You know that. You too, John. Come on, I'll take you back. Actually, Charlie, you go wait in the car. Here. You know, I've thrown my keys.
Right.
Hey, Charlie.
Just hand him your keys.
Charlie, here are my keys. Wait in the car. But now, do you want me to do this?
You can be moving. You can. I think you
But
can
do you
just
want
put.
this to occur in front of Charlie?
Yeah, everybody's gonna have to see it.
But we didn't try to.
He's going in the car. See how far away it is?
Okay, no, I
Does that think? Yeah. Go ahead.
In the fucking position, John. Do you know what day it is today? Of all the days to pull this shit, you can't just wander around today, John. Jesus Christ. Christ. All I ask you for is one day.
Mom, I'm giving you 17 years.
I just need you to be responsible. Just responsible.
Responsible?
Responsible.
Don't talk responsible to me.
I just need this one thing from you, John. Just one thing!
Mom, I'm not responsible for you! I can't take it. He's dead, Mom. Michael Myers is dead.
What do you want?
So, it's over. Deal with this. Fine.
They have some attempt at a happy life.
We have some attempt at a happy existence. This whole shit we got going on here, right? This leaking is bleeding all over me and I can't keep myself clean. You said yourself you watched me. 20 years. Don't you think he would have come back by now? What's he waiting for?
One second.
That's fine.
You go to the car. Hey, Ruby.
Ah! Jesus.
Look, my mom's a functioning alcoholic. She's aware of every drop in my house.
Hey, hey! What are you doing here?
Ooh, on campus lunch.
You're not allowed to go off campus for lunch, John. You know that, and you too, Charlie.
Sorry, Miss Tate.
Come on, I'll drive you back. You know what, Charlie, here, wait in the car. What the fuck do you think you're doing?
I'm really comfortable with using that word.
Well, then don't put me in the fucking position, John. Do you know what day it is? Huh? Of all the days to pull this shit. You can't just wander around today, John. I don't ask you for much. Just one day. Just give me one day.
Mom, I've given you 17 years.
I just need you to be responsible, John.
Responsible, Mom? Don't talk
You know how to be
to me about responsible.
Oh, really? I just need one thing from you, John. One
Mom, I'm not responsible for you! I can't take it. He's dead, Mom. Michael Myers is dead. This thing is over. We can try to get on with some attempt at a happy existence. Because whatever's going on, whatever shit's going on in your head is leaking and is bleeding all over me, and I can't keep myself clean from it. You said yourself you watched him.
Stay and see the ashes, John.
20 years. 20 years. Don't you think he would have come back by now? What's he waiting for, huh? I can't live like this.
What's that mean?
If you want to stay handcuffed to your dead brother, that's fine. But you're not dragging me along. Not anymore.
You are not allowed to just wander around today, John. You know, I don't ask you for very much, honey. Just this one thing. Just give me one day. Just one day.
17 years.
Are we good?
Cool.
Scaring you? Yeah, I guess so.
Say again?
You're the man.
Congratulations on your first day.
Hey, good going.
Welcome to
Just stay calm.
Look, I'm gonna go look for John and the kids. See if you can get the phones working, and I'll meet you at the gates. Okay, come on. Getting in his way. Look at him. Do you think I'm going to try to get in his way? I don't think so, Steve.
Nice, Steve.
Very good. Norma told me to walk the perimeter.
And where were you when these two got out? Eyes up, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, Carter, Charlie, and Larry.
The blue light was set for it. Let's bring the bottom door up so make sure we're not causing shadow. Okay. This door.
Cut!
Over.
Hell sticks, my fault, sorry. We're ecstatic. Let's check the gate on a good gate.
Go home.
Love you.
Take him in.
Happy, Steve?
2 and 3, thank you.
Not everybody.
Bye.
It's really the establishment that Michael Myers is on campus, and I know it, and everybody else knows it. And it's that moment. It's the beginning of the dun 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 part of it's the beginning of the heartbeat of the movie, where your pulse rate's starting to race now. It's at that moment that the movie never ever stops. This is not an action movie. This is there's sequences that demand a little bit of running around, but no, it's very much like the original movie. It's in the sense of, Laurie is kind of a sedentary character until she has to kick into gear, and then she becomes a very active character. Well, I think that Michael Myers has probably had strong opponents the whole time in his life. And I think that probably the strongest was his first, me. Obviously, I have 20 years of anger and pent-up rage at what he's caused me, how he's ruined my life. And so I think I'm a very strong opponent for him. I think he may have met his match, but I won't say anything.
You saw your daughter on the set the other day. She's from back. Is she trying to get into the world of filmmaking?
I have tried to keep my daughter as far away from filmmaking as humanly possible.
Let her enjoy her childhood.
I want her to be a child.
Do you reflect a lot on your early years in business, and do you find that still influencing your career one way or another?
I'm still as proud of Halloween and my early work in horror movies as I am about any of my more, what you would quote, legitimized work. I think it's still some of the best stuff I ever did.
And you're back with Halloween after 20 years of launching the first film. You're a film star now. The film's being produced by a big company, big budget. How do you look at this? What are your thoughts about it?
As far as I'm concerned, I want the movie to be very much like the first movie. I don't think anybody here is a big star. I don't think anybody's acting like one. The budget is a reasonable budget. It's not big budget, it's a reasonable budget to make this movie. And we're still making it with a time frame that's tight. It's a very simple story, and I don't think that we're kind of selling out at all. I think we're being very true to the original movie. If anything, this will be much more like the first movie than any of the subsequent movies.
And last one is, what's your next move?
My next move is to get out of show business. I'm going to get out of show business after this movie. Bye.
You know, I was very young when the first Halloween came out. You know, that was 20 years ago, so I was a real little kid. But, you know, I remember it, and I did see it. And, you know, it stuck with me. I remember Jamie Lee screaming in the closet and the whole bit. And it's just a lot of fun, you know, coming back and just being a part of it. You know, especially now, because I think that this is a time when people are ready for some cool movies like this. And this is definitely your classic Hollywood horror movie. It's just written in a real cool way, and it's very contemporary. So when you go to a movie like Halloween and you look at that screen and you're scared for that moment and you go, you know, you forget about everything. It's kind of like a roller coaster. That exhilarating feeling of going down the hill. Just for that 2 seconds, all they think about is just nothing but just that feeling and that adrenaline. Ronnie is a novice novel writer, amateur novel writer. He's a guy who's working as a security guard, you know, basically just so he can have time to write his books. I'm interested, period, in acting. That is something that I'm focusing on. That is something that I'm very serious about. I have every intention of pursuing an acting career with due diligence, you know? So, hey, I'm here.
I am ready. I'm ready.
That was good. Well, you know, if you didn't have a cape room, you'd be dieting too. Remember, whatever salami you don't want thrown on the floor over here.
This Grizzly.
You can't give him any food, huh? Grizzly eat it off the
Oh, good morning, Miss Kate. Thank you. Messages and mail are on your desk, along with the new quarter budget. Oh, and surprise, surprise, the drains in the girls' shower room are clogged again. But I called the plumber, and he assured me that he will be here as soon as he can. I trust him. Thank you.
Hand off again. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's good notice.
Scarier and scarier.
More speed.
Or more.
And I got her.
Go, go.
Expensive, you worry, and when people should get worried.
Yeah.
What's the story about? He said it's about a babysitter to be killed by the babysitter. I don't want to say the word babysitter is important because every kid in America knows what a babysitter is. They could relate, they could identify.
Of course. He'll be here as soon as he can.
Okay.
And I do trust him. I used to before.
Thanks a lot.
Sorry, I just needed a fix.
You're still on for lunch?
Yeah. 1 o'clock.
You are, without a doubt, the most amazing, complicated woman I have ever met. What?
Can we just stop with the Carrie analysis? Just 1 day, please. You can resume tomorrow full board, but please, today, can I have the day off?
Action. Action. Whoa, man.
Great check.
Yes, I'm listening.
Check right
That's good. Can you open up? You can't go any wider.
I did. I went to a 21. I'll
Okay.
go wider if you want.
Just hold that up a little bit, that pumpkin. Maybe not that much, but okay. Let's shoot one.